Mic check. All right. Am I good?
Everything sounds good.
All right, sweet. Does the mic come in good? I mean, is it? Yeah. I almost sold all this stuff. I almost got rid of it. I would have been kicking myself right now, investing like 2 grand to buy it back, and I would have probably only got like 750 to get rid of it.
Right. Yes, please.
Me too.
Feeling
I,
sore today.
my whole tooth, I didn't know how I was going to be today because this tooth just lit up because she made some meat the other night and it gets in my teeth. And so I was taking my water and like power washing between my teeth constantly. And then this tooth, it just cleared something out and set it off. So now my body's like, I can feel it clearing it out and stuff. But, and I don't take any pills. So a couple ibuprofen 800s for my stomach and I am like floored. But, it's crazy because it doesn't matter if an issue comes from that, but physical tension, like in this line right here, goes right up into here. If you look up the superficial front line, like we were looking at before, it basically ends right up in here behind the ear. Same place that like the sternocleidomastoid and the levator scapula, everything in that whole region right there. Um, so just I can feel this like resonating, and it's because I've been really trying to like stay like this and press when I work on people, and because I don't work out, I haven't worked out in years, so I just try and do anything I can do. I figure this, if that dude can do the calisthenics and get as buff as he did, then I'm gonna try and see like what I can do. And it's like I feel skinny right now through the midsection, but after we do this, it's amazing. When you get rid of the hard stuff, your body just falls out. It doesn't just relax, it falls out. That's where you get the difference in when I'm doing my before and afters through this region right here. Makes the V taper, and even if you're not trying to like go have a six pack, it makes your waist look thinner. And I think everybody on earth pretty much likes that. So are we good? You wanted to start? All right. We're already recording, so it doesn't really matter. So we thank you for coming today. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. All these days seem to be blurred together. uh, we
Oh,
saw.
there you go.
Yeah, she's got to mute. See, this. Did you get it all muted? Mute all. Click it. Because Kyle's not muted. Gabriel's not. It doesn't show. Gabriel doesn't show muted.
No, I'm good.
There we go. So we learned a lot last time. We apologize for the first one. That's why I wanted to do the dry run, because it ended up showing. Are we locked on us, babe?
We can just pin your video, Josh, so you're locked in for us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There you go. Is that good now? Yeah, shut your video off. Kyle's all half naked over there. He's ready to roll. He's like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to get direct contact right here. So on the last one, now we've figured out just like that right there, pinning it and then removing the sound. My mother-in-law, I had her unmuted for to ask her something, which was good, but then we forgot to mute her back up. So we apologize for that. That's why this is ongoing. That's also why I tried to do just like a one-time thing. And then after that, don't like have like continuous payments and all that. I just wanted it to be very simple, very short, and to the point when it came to that. And then we will work on this because I got eight tries at it a month. I've already done lots of live videos, but typically I'm using my phone and just placing it right at me, and it's real easy and one-on-one. So getting this and getting more lighting this time, so it looks like it's definitely a lot brighter coming across, which is good. And over here I got some light now too, so and we're gonna make that even better. Today we're gonna go over the same thing that we did on the other one. Also on that first one, and since it was messed up, at some point I'm gonna add in a third day where me and Sarah will just jump on here a week when I'm not busy, and we'll just redo that one so we have the actual that part of the 12-week block. where I'll show, even though that still seems to have some good content in it, we'll make a straightforward like one where it's just me. I'm sure Sarah will love that, where I can just go through her shoulders again. Today we're going to go through exactly how to use, well, the same way that I would do self-therapy on my shoulder girdle is what we're going to work on today. I'm going to show you, if you don't have a Theragun or anything like that, I mean, I'm going to entice you to want to get one. So I know this is $650. So real quickly, when you're talking about the Theragun, when you're talking about, oh, good. Nice, Kathy. So when you're talking about the Theragun, you're talking about $650, and $650 in the scheme of things when you're talking about the medical field, typically things are thousands of dollars. So $650 for something that's pretty bulletproof. This one has 2 speeds. I mean, the head moves. So think about these things when you're making your purchase decision. We have the Hypervolt. I like it. It's different. It doesn't. The shaft doesn't go in and out as far. So, and the amperage is different. So when you're talking about torque and things like that, I didn't like the Hypervolt personally to use on clients because the ball and things like that, it doesn't glide across the tissue or material that you're working on. It would grab and almost be inconsistent in the flow of things. So I like this one. It pulls away from what you're working on, and therefore it actually glides smooth, especially if you go onto the high-speed setting. After you decompress the person a little bit, it flows really, really well. So in the Hyperice Raptor and the DMS, the Deep Muscle Stimulator, those two are $3,200 and $3,600, just to give you a comparison. Those are the only 2 other ones that I would recommend that are parallel to this one, and they are 6 times the price. So just to give you an idea. I use things like this. This is the Roll Into Fitness. If you're on Instagram, at Roll Into Fitness. And then Peanut. Peanut and me used to do stuff in the beginning, but then his guy Roll Into Fitness he used to work with him. I kind of fell out of touch with the Peanut guy. I still know who he is and stuff, but this ended up being the guy that I went with. So, but it doesn't matter. If you have a Peanut, my buddy just bought a Peanut, and it doesn't matter. They're both phenomenal. Having this and having this, this takes away the balance, so you can really pinpoint things a lot different. You'll notice when you get on certain things like this that you'll go to be try and release something that's pretty tender, and just the fact that you're more or less balancing while you're doing it at the same time as putting pressure, it won't want to release as easy. And sometimes it can leave tissue bruised. So having this one where you can put the same pressure, you can actually put more pressure, because not having the balance, you're going to be able to dig in harder because the tissue is not balancing, it's not firing, you're not recruiting that tissue except to apply pressure to it. So therefore the body will allow it to be more calm, and therefore it can melt in deeper. As far as how you do this, okay, it's such like prayers answered that the industry is now admitting that static stretching is not the go-to thing. Just sitting there and hanging in place is not like the way that you want to do it. You want to be doing and also doing your recovery before a workout, like to stretch and foam roll either or both before a workout makes no sense. You're telling the nervous system, we're going to go home and go to sleep and recover, and we're going to feel good and everything. And then bam, you're going into the work mode. It makes absolutely no sense. It never made sense to me at all. Even when I was learning it at NASM, and 24-hour fitness was just advocating for it super hard. It never made sense. And I've hundreds, if not thousands of people in my career alone, I've stopped getting injured. I've stopped their injuries simply by getting them to switch their foam rolling and stretching to post-workout or off days when they're sore. When they're sore is the, see, that's what I was going to say, Kyle. Movement is key, okay? Movement is better than any therapy I can do, putting pressure on you, better than any of these things and stuff like that. Movement is the biggest key. Can you maximize that, babe? Can you get rid of the rest of the screen, please? Movement is hydration. You got to think of it that way too. And hydration, water is the entire makeup of blood. So if you talk about circulation, you have to move. Okay. And half the problem with my career was getting and incorporating enough in the session to where I was doing a lot of all of that modalities. So I was moving them and compressing them and things like that because people just inherently weren't doing it themselves. I could tell until I was blue in the face, and they wouldn't accept it and try and take it on. It would take just weird things. Certain situations would provoke behavior, and all of a sudden I'd find out they were doing it. So when you use the stretching, I tell everybody, so you stretch. So for instance, like hamstrings, you just bend over, and remember, you got to bend the knees if you want to really feel your hamstrings. If you're straight leg, you're going to feel the whole structure. The back of your knees are going to light up. You can even see mine. That's like, see how they bow out on here. So we're going to fix all that stuff throughout this too. I'm going to get some love, and I'm going to show you how to bring the knees back center, because you can see how the calf is bowing out here. But when you're stretching your hamstrings, for example, right here, I immediately feel right here. Okay. So that's all I do initially. Okay. That is what I use for stretching initially. It tells you where to foam roll or to do your therapy. Okay. So we're not doing that today. So if I'm going to do one, this is what I want to do when I do my upper body. Bam, right there, behind the head. What's the first thing you feel? Right here, we get that insertion for me. The mid delt and tricep are stuck in a vicious battle right here on that arm. This one is more medial, okay? I mean, more lateral. Well, they both are like lateral, so. Now this one's going more medial because this one's coming around. So the other one's like way, way, way up here in the lateral line, okay? And this one's like starting to wrap over. And that's the way the body, when you look at it, okay? I can do this because I can tuck it. See, I got the roll to my shoulders, right? So we need to open this so we can get this visible. And if we can get this visible from this angle and not like this, like it naturally wants to be, then I'm going to have a lot less pressure. Because right now when my shoulders roll forward, these muscles on my neck that run straight up and down are now pulled at an angle like this. And that's a major reason why people have so many headaches, and just naturally with tech neck, everything up here. I mean, cerebral blood flow, everything that helps with your thinking, and it's all inhibited. So for now, behind the head, we found those two spots. When I open up, I just kind of like open high to low. And it's still, you'll feel whether or not it's more of a pull here or if it's more binding here. And for me, it doesn't change. I feel straight across the shoulder blades on me, and then I feel how it inserts and reaches like I was showing you here. This one's here, this one wraps like that's where I'm feeling it. It comes over the arm like this. So now that we've had our assessment, this is going to be, I think you should probably mute me when I do the gun. So yeah, I'm gonna have her mute me just so I don't deafen all of you. But hold on, before you do. When I use the Theragun, it's always as a facilitator. It's always to help me make something happen. It's not to trigger point like every time somebody says they just got a Theragun and they were like, I'm so bruised and sore. I'm like, yeah, you were like sitting on a spot. And then next 3 days, you're like, ow. You should go layer by layer. You should always go from hardest to softest. The big thing is, don't hold the gun like this unless you're trying to reach far. Don't hold it here. You're very unstable, okay? You want to be here. Or if you're close grip and you're doing something close, you grab the inside grip. Outside grip right here is going to be if you're doing something far. Just about everything is here, okay? It's very stable. You know, you don't throw it around. Another tip for the Theragun that there's only real 3 major things, okay? The grips, once you know your grips. The second, don't death grip it. If you can see the white of your knuckles, if you're like this, just angry at it, you're not gonna feel anything. Your body's a shock absorber, and the gun, you want the vibration to travel as far through your arm as you can, so that way you can actually feel what you're going. If you squeeze real hard, you're gonna lose your sensation in your hand, and you won't sense as much, you won't feel as much. When you are using the Theragun, most people just aimlessly throw it around. You want to think about the exact spot that's touching you on any one of these percussive tools, okay? Any massage gun, whatever it is. The the second I tell people that, they're going like this, and I'm like, think about the exact spot that's touching you, and then immediately their brain sinks and they start, and you got to think of it like painting, like a paint can. If you've ever used a spray paint, then how you flow with that, that's kind of how you want to do it. So go ahead and mute me up. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to show you just how quickly I do it, and then we're going to move on to the actual rolling stuff. Yeah, there's really no rhyme or reason how I do this. I'm just gonna simply buzz over. All I'm trying to, so the vibration on the guns, it makes all the muscles come to that frequency. So if I'm on a low speed or a high speed, there's a certain frequency associated with that. It'll make sleepy muscles wake up to that frequency. It'll make your crazy overactive muscles come down to that frequency. It levels the playing field, therefore it neutralizes compensation. That's the main purpose of this gun, is to sync your muscle tone together, and therefore kind of coordinates the muscles. They stop fighting each other, and now you can allow healing to happen. Or in our case, we can make a lot less painful and more effective session go on here with our rolling. Ready? So the rhythm is, you want to make sure that you think about going down as much as you think about coming back up. Don't just relax on one of them. It's kind of like bodybuilding. Everybody just like wants to just fall and then, you know, you want to make sure that you're like actually thinking about both sides of the pattern. Stroke down and then bring the stroke back up, so that way you go. The pec muscles and everything roll here. You can already see like this already wants to fill up. That's the best thing about this gun, is it's going to get the blood in there. And then it's going to calm things down. So when we do it, it's not going to be as painful, and the body will allow more things to happen. But all I'm doing is running the length of the tissues real quick. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. All I'm doing is just getting everything kind of like running on the same playing field. That's it. If you're on the bony areas like clavicle, spine of the scapula, right around here, and it bounces around, that's when you got to add a little bit of pressure to your grip. Okay, add a little pressure to it, but then relax your elbow. Keep your hands stiff a little bit. It's better to go over hard stuff with a fast speed. Just food for thought. Ready? Or if you can't reach like I just did, and if you don't have a gun to do like that. Real simple. Don't spend too much time on the Theragun. I mean, even that was more than I do, because I was pausing with you guys. It should take you, you know, call it 30 for the front, 30 for the back, 30 for each, for both sides, you know, and then maybe, I mean, not 30, 30, you know, like 10, 10, 10, 10, And you might spend like another 5 or so over here catching up in the middle and stuff like that. Equates to like a minute or two, really quick, just buzzing it together so you feel like that little vibration going through you. You got some circulation going. You can use both of these. I'm just going to show you, obviously, kind of simple. We can use the peanut and stuff on other days and everything like that. And right now, I mean, for you guys, use whatever you feel. If I was going to do it, I would almost always use the peanut because I like to get aggressive. Yeah, let's hook it up. Drop it down. Got it. Got my she got me some like 1950s basketball shorts here that work perfect for. These are I'm gonna brand these as like get your foam rolling shorts so you don't like you're right on the spot, your pants won't stop grabbing on the ground and you just can't move. You're like, come on. Okay, so immediately this spot right here is like should be done twice a week on every human being on earth. So that way your shoulder can keep, if you can't keep the outside free, you'll never get the inside free, okay? Because tension starts on the inside of the body around the spine and it forms outward, or the inside of the humerus, femur, and works outward. So it means if you have tension out here, you sure as heck have a lot of tension up in here, okay? So, and you're not gonna get this to release. The body will not let things beyond this release when this is pulling out on it. Because if this is pulling, it's pulling like this. And if you try and release something, you're only gonna further give that more to pull with, and you're going to get a lot more uncomfortable. Your shoulder's going to really rotate like that. Okay, so up here, I felt it. Mine's here. On every human being, there's a big knot called the shoulder blade right here. You're going to get above this in the arm. We're going to sink here, and we're going to drive this down, and then we're going to stretch your shoulder blade free, pushing it backwards. Yes, these are awesome, man. And I really got to foam roll my legs. No, like they're free, and I got to foam roll my legs and like pop them out. It'll be a huge before and after. So I'm on the shoulder blade. And all I want is to stay on top of it. Oh, and you ability to crease line. Can you turn it up on there and see if it helps? Is that better? All right, cool. I want it to be perfect, so please, like, bug me and tell me, because I'm gonna keep you guys paid for this, and you guys are, yeah, I'm gonna make sure it's good. All right, so all I'm doing, like you're kneading dough, okay? We got the rolling pin, and we're up against the big mountain of dough, right? You would never take your rolling pin; it would make no sense to go boom, boom. So we're not going over the speed bump of our shoulder blade. We are up against that. We're bumping on it right here. So you know you're up against it. I have to adjust my arm. Externally rotating. So having your elbow and allowing your hand to fall out, you might not even be able to fall out much, but just that motion there, it exposes that knot a little bit. So hold that there. And also, if you can ever find something to add a little weight, like if this is just hanging on the spot, and it's going to help it melt away just because that little bit of weight will encourage it to start pulling free. And then you just get on the spot and, you're giving it a little bump to stimulate and encourage it to start going down your side. The shoulder blade, you're going to pull it down. Obviously, it's not going to go much down the body as it is going to swing back and create more scaption. This thing keeps going over. So I get back over it, make sure that I'm going. And you're driving. Okay, the big key too, same thing as I think I was explaining in the first one. When Sarah works on me, I'm the number one thing I've told her over the years is every time you move, you want to lift your pressure. And it's not just her. Literally everybody I find does this. So you got to make sure when you're pressing with the foam roller, the entire purpose of what I'm doing right here is to not only knead the dough, but I'm trying to use the roller and my body weight going this way to grab that dough and stretch it. So I'm trying to push the shoulder blade down my body, but I'm also pushing my weight into the roller hard so it doesn't let up. It's grabbing that, and the combination of the two is like a frictionless stretch. Hop up for 1 sec. Shoulder blades, I like to do each side for about 10 minutes. So, but 10 minutes will make your arm go numb, sometimes 3 times. Okay. Look at that. This one is like, this one actually just wanted to go up easy. The left one I had to match it. But for me, it's just that little bit is already getting some blood flow. Let's go back down. I'm trying to make very good use of this time with you guys. Same thing. I'm just trying to find. So now the other key to this shoulder girdle is learning where you are with your torso and what line you're hitting. So here I immediately, because I released a little bit, I'm finding that now if I lean more back into the rear delt, that I'm feeling a new line expose itself. And that's what's more so like the hardest thing I can find right now. Remember, we're always trying to find like whatever we can feel that's hard. And you guys, if you don't feel something in that line, I encourage you to roll forward or roll backwards, because your body is not my body. Are we different in our bodies? Not really. We all have similarities, and that's how I can tell you to do this stuff. And we all are like, oh, okay, yeah, I feel that. Why would every person I do a session with say that, you know, if we're so different, you know? Humans aren't that different, especially nowadays. Yeah, we are come with a different story and a current set of circumstances right then. All right, I got another spot there. So when you're doing this yourself, wow, it's getting better. I'm going to do what I feel, because ultimately we're going to do everything. But I'm just going to roll with the rhythm of this, because if I'm feeling it, then I bet you guys are too. So the next thing you could do if you don't have very much time would be to go straight from hitting that region right there, which is basically up in the subscap, rotator cuff, and then go right into the chest and drop the shoulders back. My arm is lighting up like right through here. So I want everybody to do that. And then we're going to go around to the front. It's going to be a cool sequence, but you can always go chest and back and like, boom, and be out in like 10 minutes and feel a lot better. So this one, this is kind of a doozy. This one can be pretty, not so much challenging, it's numbing. Like it's this line right here, if you just press your fingers into it, it's pretty, it can make your arm feel like a dull numbing pain. So the easiest one is to like just be in like fetus position, fetal, whatever fetus. And then to just apply pressure, okay? If you need more, extend your leg, and you can kind of use that leg to lift up and increase the angle. Like, holy wow, that's awesome.
Are you starting from the top of the shoulder and going down to that bicep?
I'm just on, it's really going to be for anybody. Good question. You can go anywhere. I'm at the top, so you guys can follow along with that. But if it's on anything I do, we're in the vicinity of here. So I'll show you the region, and you know, if you're down here, I don't really feel it right down there right now. So all I feel is up top. But I encourage you, the only roll I do is like that. Okay, bang. And if you take longer to roll to find the spot, then that area most likely doesn't have anything for you. Rolling should not be rolling. We know that, but that's about the extent of rolling. Boom, boom, back and forth on the region. We found the spot, hit the spot, hold it. With this one, it's kind of like you can bring it forward or back. Like you can either give it a punch or a pull. For me, like out here, I can stretch across it. So this is an active motion. Very good question, Dave. So you can do that. You can do the little like. That really actually, this doesn't hurt me. This feels like a good necessary pain, but it's still like some of these spots give you like a sharp kind of energy as it starts to unwind. You get past the pain where now it's not, this is really, feels really good, but you can just feel how much is involved in this buildup here. So that was quite a lot, quite a while on that. If you guys just did it for that long, good for you. Kudos to you. That was quite a bit. Yeah, huge difference. Okay. huge difference for me as far as like now I feel like that whole back half of my body has been kind of removed from the equation, and now I feel like this whole sheath going across the front. But I don't feel like this. When I would raise, the back would grab. Then when I get about here, the middle would start to bind. And now on both of them, I don't feel either of those. I feel a little pull go down the tricep, but I'm feeling like right through here now. So we're gonna shift. You can see this is like a lot fuller than here. What's up?
So when people are raising their arms, like a lot of people, the traps, are you gonna get that too?
Yeah, so we can go around and hit. I planned on doing the extension of rotator cuff. Oh, now it's low. Is that better? Am I still quiet? How'd it go back down? Same way.
Never turn it up.
How did it change? It's weird. I wonder if it's a bandwidth thing. Is that any better? I have to get close to computer. Do you have it all the way up?
No.
She said.
Kyle says everything's fine on his end. Yeah.
Did that do anything? It's all right? Okay, cool. So now we're going to hit right through here. So same thing, arm up, and you're going to get the roller. Basically, we're going to like cut this away right here. And then we're going to try and push from up under the front delt through here. We're going to try and get this to lift and effectively get to where you can see how big and like bulky this part right. I'm not a big dude, so this right here collecting like that shows that like a lot of my pec volume, the fullness of it is being pulled and distributed this way. So I love that we can get certain angles that I never did on a lot of my videos in reality. So here, I would put my head like here just to rest. I'm trying to get everything. I'm trying to get everything to, baby, click just don't click it, but the very front button right here. No, up on top. The very front one on, no, on the camera. This, just tap it, but don't all the way in. Click it, you gotta click it. There you go. See how it focused? Sorry, I wanna make sure you guys can see that. Just a little bit. All up in here, we're trying to get the roller, and I'm leaning my weight like this. So that's why I want to do this angle. It kind of cuts this off, so make sure you guys are seeing. I have it up under. I'm laying it here to where I feel like this whole region here, but I'm trying to pull this up. So leaning forward, you should be feeling for hard, and then try and feel like a cord, like a line you're on. When you're on that line, you want to sit on every line that you want, and that's where you want to like just kind of move around on it, and then back off a little bit on your pressure, so that way you don't feel like you're getting the muscle to spasm or contract. But when you back off a little bit, you'll notice that at a certain point, the body will start to melt faster, and that's the point you want to find. But always find the hard line that you can sit on in order to break it up. And see, I'm moving forward. And I really encourage you guys to get used to having multiple rollers. These are only like $20, so get like a medium 2-foot one and get like a 3-foot one also. But get used to doing the end, because when you're at the end of the roller, see, I can move my head past. I can rest my head comfortably, but I can also extend all of these tissues right through here into a stretch. And when you're trying to get something like this, that can be very, very, very painful on a lot of people. When you're trying to get it to release, I mean, whatever you can do to make it faster, by all means, do it. See now, okay, I'm going to make a call right now. My arm was going numb. I was getting that like cold, like tingly release, that kind of nervy release. So if you ever feel that where it's starting to shut off, just stop for a second, shake it out, and then go back into it. I mean, what's it hurt? We could be right back into it right now.
Kathy's feeling good.
Yeah. So you can see the roundness of the pec. This one's way, like I just took a pump to the top of it, okay? You see? In this shoulder, if we look, I don't know why I need a whistle when I move the mic, it's weird. This is coming back. We're starting to see more of this. Still all up in here. Sarah was telling me I need to hit that. See, this one's still really slouched. You're not seeing like a whole bunch, and I'm even turned. So if I turn completely sideways and then come back, you're really starting to see. Oh, wait, there we go. Yeah, you can start seeing this fullness come through here and everything. So we're going to do another one that's really, talk about scaption. This is one of my favorite. If you got a little roller, your butt's probably going to hang off of this like I do here. This thing's just, we built everything. Like I got 2 mats so I can split them and fit them in the car easier. We built everything to travel with. So now that we're stationary, I might invest in some other stuff here, but we're going to go sit. And my head's too far off. So that's why I said on a smaller roller, on a bigger roller, typically on a bigger roller, unless you're over 6 foot, your butt would be secure here. The point of the skull right through here, right at the suboccipital ridge, is going to be where you touch. So you want your head just a little bit tilted back, just so it can kind of contract things back there. We're going to go into like snow angels here. And I keep my arms like lightly bent because what?
What if you don't have a foam roller? Where would you put the ball? Some people only have a ball.
I do it with the ball too. Just do the same thing, bro. If you're on the ball though, don't lay back onto it. Don't lay the ball down, lay down, and then kind of sit yourself up and put the ball under. Because if you got like a really spasmed area, same thing with the roller. If you're debilitated or you're struggling, then the best thing for you to do is to lift yourself up rather than trying to do this. This is, it's pretty hard on most people. So when we're here, the goal here is to drive your elbows and try and touch the floor without arching yourself up, okay? So just to where you have pressure, you want to pinch your shoulder blades together. This is what this is for. So you're either going to do bent 90s, like arms like so. You would never go this fast. You always want to go until you feel something that starts to light up or is tender or spasms. And then you want to just hold there, kind of bump your elbows and let it melt and then move on. So that's what we're going to do here. Try and tuck your abs because you want to be pulling that pelvis up like this. And that way you can actually elongate these back muscles. Like now that I have it up, I'm actually feeling right through the middle here. Are you filming all that on the phone? Okay, cool. Right here, I got a good spot. It's a big stretch for me. It's right at the bottom too, which is great because if this, releases, then the spot at the very bottom of my shoulder blades is going to be pulling together and holding my shoulder blades into a better scaption than what they were in before. So now I can go up. Oh, it's so much better. Now, like I had my back arched the last time, just that one spot now, even pinching here. Now I have no curve to my back as I do it. It's awesome. So here I'm going to just bump, bump, bump. So basically I'm trying to feel that line right at the end and pinch and pinch and pinch. I'm getting to where it's going to like try and cramp. But I got it to release. So you can kind of bump. That's just a different way I wanted you guys to see. Get onto a line when it feels tender. You can kind of like sometimes on this, just pinching your shoulder blades and kind of bouncing them on every little hard spot you feel. Got to Get up for a sec. Yeah. There's a solid rush of blood and cold feeling. Remember, if you ever get a cold feeling, then you know that you've increased circulation in an area. And if you get the light feeling, which I definitely, this side feels like, this one feels dead compared to this side. So we need to match that up. I'm trying to make sure that every time I build a sequence with you guys, but also just leave it to where at the end, you can repeat that process on the other side. See how well you did it. We're trying to get these to where they download upload quick and have them to where we'll send out the file for you guys to go back over. So that way, if you're like me and you're still sitting here and enjoying your weekend and doing some recovery, then you could have it to basically go back and refresh your brain right away. As Sarah said, for the traps and everything beyond that, okay, the one that is, I wish I had something over here. I could probably do it over there. I'll just grab on this. Typically, like if you can get close to a couch or anything that you can lay over like this and hook your hand on, if you can get it, if you're looking to get more pressure to what I'm about to do, then find something that you can hook your arm on. If not, if you don't need that, if you don't feel you need that, then don't worry about it. If you can't get there yet, then don't worry about it, because you'll get a lot of pressure and a lot of release on this exercise by itself. You can do this with any roller pretty much. You want to get right here. So instead of going from here, okay, you got on top of the shoulder blade, we're going to sit on that same line. You're going to rotate out, and then you're going to come down a little bit and just kind of roll all through more back on the shoulder blade. And you should feel somewhere should have a pretty sizable ball in there. You guys feel it? All right, cool. Because if you feel it, then whoever is watching this is going to feel it. You guys are the brain and mouth of every person who's ever going to watch this. So I got this big spot right through here. So we are externally rotating our hand over here, and it should make that lump stand up. You guys feel that one? And now you can basically bounce against it. If you get this to release by pushing it down, so we're gonna push hard into the roller. Don't overdo it, but push hard so that way when you roll your body up and it pushes the knot this way, we're gonna be really stretching it. We're gonna try and pop this thing basically. It's almost like it's like a zit. Sounds really terrible. So it's almost like a water balloon. We'll say you're getting over to it and you're just squeezing into it, and then we're trying to push it down into where it just releases. And then when it releases, the muscle will engage differently and start to lengthen. You'll feel it. That's what the whole popping kind of thing is, like a water balloon. Instead of the water bursting and just rushing out, it would be as if that knot is just the whole muscle is pulled up into the middle, and we are pushing it back towards its original spot, the origin. And if you notice I'm moving, I'm just adjusting as this releases. I'm keeping constant pressure, pushing it down my side of my body. And you can open up like this. You see I move my arm in different ways, but I'm pushing it the entire time I'm driving this down. I'm keeping my weight is still back this way, but I adjust a little by little as it starts to release, and it's going to release a lot of it right now. And I just jumped over it. So sometimes like you'll feel it tighten up right there because it's trying to release, but that one right there, like, wow, I mean, that's actually sore. Dang, that when it's sore right away, then you know you've got some sleepy junk in there, meaning you got some tissue that hasn't really been playing ball with the rest of the team for a while. So when it's sore, you know that muscle is like, whoa, give me a second, okay? So I've learned to preface every single statement I say to a client that involves movement with, now don't do this fast, because every time I'll be like, oh, how's that feel? And they're like, oh man, this is great. So if this is, I don't know why people do that. I do it too, but now I've taught myself just to especially when you do it, don't assume it's going to be like when you do the same spot and rolling on your shoulder blade that you do every week. And I did that one, and my body is so used to and in tune with that release that I can throw my arm around. But don't think, because that one right there I just released is on, that's the rotator cuff we just worked on there. Okay. The most common thing for somebody to blow up and tear for a reason, because when you roll the shoulder forward, your shoulder blade wings out. Well, all four muscles on there are the rotator cuff. I used to think it was like this little circle thing in here that would rotate or something, but it's on the actual shoulder blade. So when you release something like that, always be cautious, tread carefully, and make sure that it's not going to be an area that was really sore and sleepy, and therefore you go swinging it around, and now you could cause it to just jump right into spasm. This is feeling significantly better for me, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely noticed I had better gait on everything, better travel through here. I got a little bit of clunking, but the clunking that I was getting before is better. Now pretty much here, I've got it to where it's reaching up into here. Do you guys feel it moving to the tricep? Kathy, your arm's way straighter. Yeah, it's Kyle's like the little specimen over there, so we can just see, because I can like do a before and after like every time we get up with him. He just like right there like, oh yeah, I got 7 new striations over here. Good, perfect. So good.
If they had more time, would somebody complete all the way down to the elbow and the arm?
So yeah, once we go into the very last modules and stuff, like getting into the arms and different things like that and showing you, they're different because I'm going to be doing them with the ball and stuff, like learning how to use like a wall, and that's going to be a lot of the self-therapy stuff. And mainly I bought the gun because the last thing I want to do is work on my hands after I use my hands all day. So they're the hardest things to work on. So that the gun just makes perfect good sense. Even $100 gun that's not worth anything. Is perfect enough just to kind of keep those muscles decompressed. Your hands are as important as your feet are, guys. I mean, like getting this down and this down to flow better. I mean, it's insane what it does for your heart and your brain. Your thought process throughout the day and everything is just much more level. Your cortisol levels don't spike out of control, and you don't end up with this crazy anxiety by the end of the day that's built up preventing your sleep. If you had more time, you could go into the arm. If you had a ball, the best thing to do always is to just get a ball that will flatten out somewhat and just crush it between your arm. You can actually make a fist and do it here. It's pretty easy. And just bouncing in on it through here. That's one thing that you can do. A little self-therapy here. You can do it. If you can't get that in there, you can do like mine. Mine feels better with this. I'm squeezing my hand and I'm pushing down with this hand. So this hand is chopping, so I'm pushing a little pressure, and then I'm squeezing here. If I feel a cord, I lean my hand that direction and I press into that cord. So you feel those cords in there? If it feels hard, guys, ignore your hand. Right now when you're doing it, ignore what your hand that you're pressing with is feeling. Feel what that hand is making you feel. So act like somebody else is pressing in your bicep right now and only feel your bicep. And then whatever feels hard there, move the other hand and smash on it. Press into it and ignore anything else that you're feeling except for that hard spot that you're touching, right on that spot, the exact spot you feel. And that just, I mean, in a few minutes, not even a minute, it did a good job if I can't speak after, so that did something. And just that, okay? Food for thought. If you're talking about a joint that's right here, like your shoulder joint, okay? A spot that is really tense this far away from your joint is way worse than a big spot right here. The further away you come from a joint, the easier it is to mess it up. So for me, with my work and everything, all being driven right through here and dominant through my, elbow down, if I leave spots in here, it doesn't matter. I'll release this whole thing and it'll feel just like my arm from here to here is non-existent. And my arm from here to here will feel like it's 1,000 pounds. And then by the next morning, I'll end up with like stuff where I can't turn my head, and I'll release my forearm and it takes it away. Figure that out. So always remember that. Pain is never where the problem is. It's always across the body or it's always through the body. So it's either your chest is causing your back or vice versa, or this side is causing that side. So always make sure that you don't chase the pain, chase the region around the pain. What time are we at? It's 10? Okay, cool. Perfect. I'm going to keep these like a minute or a minute. That'd be insane. An hour to less than an hour and a half is what I'm going to do with these, but I do want to ask some questions too at the end. So, yeah, we're going to do, that's what I'm saying. So if Sarah's been asking some good questions about different things. If you had more time, then that's what I would basically do. You can find more spots all through that rotator cuff, guys. Anything that's hard, go through it. And then as you increase your range, so as your arm can willfully externally rotate, okay? And I mean willfully, I mean without you forcing it into a pain. You don't want to go grab on the couch and then be getting it to where it's like a painful strain or like really just pain as you're trying to roll it free, that you can tear things. So if you don't easily just go into there, you know, like where you actually need that increased range, don't force it, okay? So when my arm goes back, then boom, I try and find something maybe that's up in this range, okay? Just something that you can squeeze on. And when you squeeze on it, then when you lean, you can actually get things to rise up to the surface. And in turn, you can release stuff that maybe, you know, if you don't do that on there and you try and roll the rotator cuff like that, the way we were doing, you'll bruise it. It'll just feel like nothing releases. Why? Because the lump we were releasing under the shoulder blade that you felt there was your rhomboids. You were working with like infraspinatus and things like that, but that fat lump that was under there, you were actually reducing a lot of the tension that was under the shoulder blade. So if you don't rotate that, you're not going to feel that rise up. You'll feel it, but you'll feel like really like you'll be doing this. You'll be skimming the top of it. What we were doing was like consuming the whole thing and grinding through it because we externally rotated. So my beautiful wife Sarah is going to show you guys how to do some quick stretches and some active stretches. We call her Stretch Master Sarah. So I don't like stretching and I won't teach stretching. She does stretching a certain way and it works. I used to kind of like, I didn't buck her on it. I always knew she knew what she was trying to describe, but like it took her a couple years and then she actually conveyed it to me and I understood what she meant. And that's how I stretch now. So I don't teach stretching because I don't believe most people will stretch correctly. That's why I teach them you to jump right in. But if you're going to finish up a stretch, do it this way. Because if you get into leveraging the joints properly and you get into like some of the different little movement aspects she does with it, then stretching is phenomenal. And this is definitely the way that you should do it, because movement-based stretching to complement any kind of like static-based stretching works really well after you have done what we just did. We broke this up, boom. She's going to show you how light you can make it feel. And then I encourage you guys, please remember what we just did, repeat what we just did to the best of your ability. And while we send you the video, then you can go back and at least just skim through it or whatever and see how close to it were you just from remembering. But try and get this side by yourself without us, or just the encouragement that we have of watching the video to feel like this side. That's always going to be the goal with this. So please, in the future, if you weren't planning to do this, try and have that time. I'll try and keep them like right around an hour and 15 of packed with information, so you guys can go back and pick a day that you could actually afford to do these kind of things. A couple hours a week, if you did it in a program and consider this like an investment in a school for your body, by the end of the 12 weeks, you should be like feeling like a rock star. That's a bad reference, but you should be feeling really amazing. So, all right, here's Sarah.
Hello, everybody. How you guys feeling? Good? Yeah, I know. We should do that stretching more. You did the right side, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So just a little history. When I grew up, I started dancing at the age of 4. And when you're dancing, when you're doing ballet, when you're doing jazz, I mean, everything is a forced stretch. If you look at ballet dancers, if you look at rhythmic gymnastics, everything is just a forced stretch. So I kind of learned the hard way after 18 years of dancing. I got into fitness and I really found that the integrity and the muscles that I had were really lacking. I had great range of motion. You know, I could pick my leg all the way up here. I could probably still do it, but I would force it, you know. You can't force something into a stretch. You have to have integrity, I guess you can say, to the muscles, and you have to support the stretch. Otherwise, you're just pulling something too far, and then something along the line will either not break, but fracture. You can tear it. It'll lose strength on the other side. So like if we're stretching, you know, if I'm stretching my inner thigh here, you know, I have no strength back here. I'm just relaxing into it, you know. That's not the way that I learned to stretch anymore. After going through Pilates school and then started teaching Pilates, there's a way to align the body with movement, with proper stretching, with proper corrective exercise. So that's what I really want to convey in these videos is don't just stretch just to stretch. Okay, you got to support the stretch. You have to have that balance between flexibility and strength, and between that, you will be golden. Your range of motion will be golden. Your muscles will gain even, I mean, sometimes this is even a workout for me, and sometimes that's all I do is just stretching. So anyway, let's get into it. We're just going to do a few minutes. Again, with my background in dancing, there are a million ways to stretch, and there are a million different body types out there, but we all have one foundation and one way the body moves, right? So we're gonna just take that right arm that you guys just did. Yes? Okay. So we're just gonna go through just some basic ones. And again, your body is your own. So whatever you feel, what? My left? Well, they did their right. So what you feel, you know, like Josh is saying, you know, we all have different lines of tension that go through our body. We all have different patterns, different movements, different history of our body. So I'm going to show you a stretch, and then you on your own are going to go through that range of motion, feeling the lines of tension and where it goes, and you're going to essentially follow it. So you want to hold stretches for at least 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to go through them kind of quickly just so that we can get a good idea of different ways to stretch just the upper body. So can you guys hear me good? Yes?
Can you stretch behind that? Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. So take that arm that you guys were doing, lift it above the head, and just kind of go through, you know, removing this in the joint socket. So just kind of moving it around, you know, what's tight, what's still lacking. Even though you guys just did some foam rolling stuff on it, there's still going to be some tension in there. Okay, so lift it up nice and tall as you can, but not letting the rib cage splay. So this is where we're going to support the stretch. You're going to keep those abs nice and tight. Okay, lifting up as high as you can, and then bending at the elbow. I like to do a lot of active stretching too, so we're going to do a lot of flexing. I used to call it flex and stretch is what I tried to tell Josh all these years. It's flexing and stretching. So pulling this here behind the head, and then you're going to pull that elbow back, but not, again, we're not opening the rib cage. We're not going too far. We're keeping everything in alignment, okay? So here's where the active part comes in. You're going to essentially push against your hands like you're pushing down. You're going to activate all this here. All this is nice and open now that you guys just foam rolled. So we're going to just push against it. So here, so you watch me. When I push against my arm, you can see my lat will flex. Okay, but I'm relaxing. What's that?
Tell Kyle not. See,
Kyle, yeah, we don't want to do this. You want to keep everything in a line. So this is all relaxed here. Okay, so it's a lot of mind to muscle here on when you're stretching. So keeping this all relaxed here, but keeping this engaged to push against it to open it up even more. So we're just going to kind of hold it here. And this is where your own movement kind of comes in, keeping the structure here and keeping everything in a line. You can kind of move around this way, move a little bit into it if you want to, but again, keeping those abs nice and tight. You know, all of our bodies are different. We all have different lines of tension. For me, I feel this all back here. And if that's where you feel it, you can kind of push back even more. And again, opening up that chest too. Big deep breaths. Make sure you are breathing. Go ahead, relax. Move it around nice and slow. So active stretching. Has anybody ever done active stretching? Ever heard of active stretching? Yes. I love active stretching. I used to come in and just force my clients when I first started training, you're going to stretch, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. No, there's a way to open the body. And again, you want to keep integrity and strength within the muscles too, so that you are supporting the stretch, so that we're not just, you know, opening things and letting our rib cages splay, letting our hips come out of alignment. You know, there's a very effective way to stretch. So if you have something behind you, we're going to stretch our chest now. Let me see if I can just grab the wall here. Usually I would have something that you can just kind of put something on, because we're going to do a little rotations here. Where's the bench? Hang on just one sec. Workout for today. Awesome. So if you have something, you're just gonna push against the wall if you have a wall. That's a good idea too. Or if you have something to rest your hand on, you can do that too, because we're gonna do some little stuff where you can rest your hand on. Variations. Thank you. Am I heard okay? Okay, so this is for the chest. So this is the part we're going to be engaging back here to support this part, because we're going to open this part. And again, we're not just going to let it fall open. We're going to actively flex this area. So like you're doing a seated row, or just squeezing the muscles behind you. So take your arm behind. We're going to open the hand first. So this is, you know, not a great range of motion, but go as far as you can. Again, we're not trying to open too much, trying to keeping those shoulders aligned as much as we can. Okay, squeezing the muscles back here. So as I squeeze, you'll see my shoulder kind of engage into it. This is relaxed. This is engaged back here. My hand, you can squeeze your bicep a little bit if you wanted to get more of a rotation here. We're not opening up our rib cages again. We're keeping this nice and tight. We're keeping our shoulders nice and square. We're not just opening this way, okay? So again, we are just gonna hold it here. We're squeezing here, squeezing our biceps if you want, relaxing the hands, relaxing here, opening it up. Yep, you can add a little head motion in there. That's awesome. If you pull it this way, you will complete the entire line, the superficial line going all through here, starting from your head, all the way down over the shoulders, all the way to your fingers. So in this one, you can move the head, you can move the hand, rotating over, rotating back. Again, keeping everything nice and engaged back here. This is nice and relaxed. One more big deep breath. Go ahead and relax. Woo. It's a little workout, you know? I mean, I feel like a little blood flow coming, a little pump on my shoulder.
Well, you're not free like they are.
No, and I'm not free like you guys. So my tension is a little bit tighter than you guys right now too. So I'm sure you guys have a little bit more range of motion. But that's awesome. All right, we're gonna do just a couple more. So you can repeat that one. You can repeat this one. You can take this one even further. You can add in, you know, the whole torso. You can complete the whole line of stretching if you wanted to. Remember, like we talked about in the first video, we have those superficial lines. And that's also another way that I really like to stretch when I do full bodies, is completing the entire stretch where the superficial line goes through. So this one, to complete this one, you can even go all the way across, do both shoulders. But since you guys only did this one, you guys can always save, you know, stretching at the end if you do both sides. But again, I like to do the stretching in between my foam rolling, because it'll show me different spots that are still tight. And then I can go back and foam roll those again, come back and stretch. You can go back and forth. So let's do another one. We're gonna do the rear delts now. So now that we engaged all this here, this is all nice and relaxed. We're gonna stretch it across the body. So again, we're not lifting that shoulder, pushing that shoulder down, trying to keep those shoulders nice and square. So if this is as far as you go, that's as far as you're gonna go. You can pull it just a little bit more, keeping that elbow nice and tight, but still relaxed. So here we are engaging the triceps. So you're gonna essentially push against your arm that's pulling, and here's the active stretch. So you're pushing against it. We're relaxing everything back here, okay? we're engaging everything here to push against that hand to get that active stretch. So push against your hand, and here again, you can also get that head in there. It'll pull everything all the way up here. You can lean into it just a little bit, trying not to let those rib cages splay out either, keeping those abs nice and tight, supporting the stretch. Trying to keep that elbow nice and tight too. You can do the other way with your head. Really try and hold these for 2 to 3 minutes. But we won't do that now. I just want to show you guys some good range of motion stuff. One more big deep breath. And go ahead, relax. Ooh, nice and open. Awesome. If you have something to hold on to, you can. If not, this one's just going to kind of be your own. But this one is really going to test your range of motion after you guys just got done foam rolling. So we want to try and avoid this motion. We want to try and come here to this motion, like you're kind of like you're doing a bicep curl, side bicep curl, or you're lifting something. But for me, I didn't foam roll. This all right here is starting to cramp on me. So I got some rolling to do after this. But we're just going to go through this one just a little bit where you just kind of open it and then relax it, you know, open. So you don't always necessarily have to hold something for 2 to 3 minutes, but just so that you can get that open right here. You're relaxing everything in the front, squeezing everything back here. Again, just trying to open up that chest even more because that was kind of the main focus of everything that we just got done foam rolling. Yep, you can do different variations of this. You know.
Adjust their pelvis. Sometimes if it's, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Sometimes when it's cramping in the back, you can adjust your pelvis and shift the curve of your back and actually, you know, make it worse, or you can make it better. So try that. And sometimes you won't feel things. Like if you're doing lat pulls and your back is curved, you're not hitting that lower insertion of your lat. So just try and adjust by kicking your butt back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good one too. So again, everything is aligned and everything can be structurally aligned too. So you can also, in a way, force it to happen. But again, you need to support what you're doing with your muscles and engaging it so that everything's just not splaying open. So give it a little move around here. What was the other one I wanted to do? What else did you guys do? On here.
We did sub scat. So you already did over.
Okay, over here.
What did you do for pec?
I did this one for chest.
Yeah,
One more for traps. You can either sit on something and grab. This is one of my favorite trap stretches. You can grab something underneath, sitting underneath you, or if you're just sitting on the ground, just put your hand underneath your glutes. Just kind of sit on your hand. So this one is really, I love this one because you can do a lot of different range of motions through here. You can come forward and here. So we're really targeting this area all through here. So sitting on your hand, tilting your head to the left, sitting up nice and tall. Again, not splaying the rib cages where you're arching the back, pulling in that rib cage. If this is uncomfortable for you to sit, you can always sit however your legs are relaxed. So pulling the head, and then this one, the shoulder, since you want to really work on opening up that shoulder, you want to rotate that shoulder back as much as you can. Yep, and then you'll feel even more of a stretch here. Sometimes you might feel it in the front, just depending on where your lines of tension are. But really just the focus here is to open up the chest muscles and then squeezing again back here. You can also squeeze the shoulders here. And as you squeeze the shoulders, you can stretch even more into the stretch. Yep.
If you struggle to sit too.
Yeah.
Here, because
almost have to pull down.
For me, when I sit, my arms are so tight from my work that's all I feel is my hand and everything. Oh. So for me, being here, I feel this now. So you can grab. Oh. Yep. And sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I felt only my arm, so I figured maybe somebody else watching this would only feel their arm.
Yeah.
But just finding different things. I mean, if you guys are on the fly, like in an airport or anything, you know, you can find a way to do that.
Yeah. So that's a good one because for me, even though I am short too, I still have to bend my elbow. You can bend your elbow while engaging that shoulder muscle and then pulling down on the trap even more, and it will still give you that nice active stretch right here in the traps. So there's that one. You can do both sides. Go ahead, move the shoulder around. So hopefully you guys have more freedom now that you've foam rolled and now that you've done some active stretching, facilitated more blood flow. For me, whenever I foam roll, I feel like my muscles are like new again, and they almost need that little bit of flexing in there so that you're almost, reteaching your muscles like, hey, you go here, and hey, this is how you flex, and hey, this is how we all work together in sync to support stretching or supporting an exercise, anything that we do, whether we're just on our daily, routine, bending down, sitting up, everything is starting to work together as one again, essentially. So that's the goals for whenever I stretch. So I hope that gives you guys a little bit more perspective on how to stretch, even going throughout your day, in the car. And the car is our favorite sometimes because you're in such a tight spot that you have little nooks and crannies that you can grab, and you just, you get into it, So just finding those spots where, you feel that tension and almost that is your go-to to flex that area, because you will start to feel it kind of loosen up all the way down or however it starts to come. So finding that balance between flexing and relaxing into the stretch. So don't just stretch just to stretch. Have some, integrity or motivation to your stretch when you are doing it, because I've learned the hard way of forcing my body to do something when it wasn't ready to do it. And that's not the way to go, because it just comes with issues. It comes with inflammation, and then your body's all kinds of out of whack. So, we'll do some questions and stuff unless Josh has anything else to say.
I'll jump in and we'll do some.
Let me unmute it. Yeah.
Well, don't unmute it yet.
Oh.
So, thank you, babe. You see, everything like what Sarah was describing is it's trying to get everything to work in harmony. You want the cohesive environment. The entire body is built up with synergists, meaning you have multiple things. Like when you do a chest press or when you pick yourself up from like right here, it's not just one group doing the job. So it doesn't make sense for you to think about one group when you're doing a stretch or when you're foam rolling. You want to think about lines, and that's why we display what we did. Because the second I read, and I've never even read Anatomy Trains all the way through, I'm not going to take credit like I have. It's a very terminology based, like technological kind of, technical kind of book. And I have been through it all like tons of times, but I've never sat and gone through that book like I would any other novel, because it's the book of many rabbit holes. The second it showed me the superficial lines, I immediately started doing a lunge with every single thing. And the second I was listening to him say you could generate up to 30% more contractile force by doing a lunge towards whatever region of the body you're lifting with, it just blew my mind. I started doing things with clients and using the Vipers and all this stuff to do rotational, full body dynamic movements. And now I have people, before I was even doing real good hardcore therapy, I mean, people would say I was good back then, but I would argue that I wish I could go back and plead to redo the disservice I gave them. But the thing was, I started with movement. It was all and people ask me, what's your background? It's movement science, functional movement screens, things of that nature. I always looked at people and would adapt methodology based off that. And when I would put the lunge into these things and attack the whole line, next thing you know, people are going and on their third week, it's like, man, and you hear, and their whole back would reset. And next thing you know, they stand up and imagine like the before and afters you guys see now, me immediately seeing it just go boom. And like this person, and I can't tell what I'm seeing yet because I wasn't educated in it yet and not used to it. And I'm like, wow, something just happened. I think you're taller or whatever. So when you think of the body, always reference back to the superficial lines we referenced in the first one. And I'm going to put that PDF, or she'll probably do it in PDF form, and I'll put that up on my link in my bio, on my link tree. So everybody, you guys can always pop back to that, and we'll try and get it to an email for you guys if it's not already there. Do we have it to them yet?
I can send it
Yeah, we'll send it out because I want you guys to refer back to those superficial lines always. Always just Google superficial back line, front line, spiral line, lateral line. You know, you get into the medials, you get into the arm lines, you get into all those different ones, and you realize like you start attacking each one of those. And next thing you know, not only does your body feel better, but you'll realize how much the superficial back line, when that's aggravated, it starts pulling on this. And it'll literally cut off everything that's flowing to your brain. And I've reset people to the point where, I mean, they went from a manic head case to taking control back of their life. And it was simply because they felt like they couldn't breathe. They were suffocating from this grip they had right here. It was just like they talk like this, they felt like this. Yeah, they were sick more often because no lymphatic drainage was happening in here. It was actually lymphatic suckage. You know, it was like everything was just coming up into here. So anyways, let's do some questions if you guys do have any. I don't know if you guys have any, but we'll check it out. Unmute. Oh. Wait, unmute. That was me, though. Can you guys unmute if you guys have any questions? Oh, they did. Oh, go for it. Who's talking? Nobody. All right, go for it.
So where are all the other 30 people, man?
What are all the what?
The 30 other people that's in the class.
I guess they just want to watch the videos. They don't want to be like interactive, I guess.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are overseas, and in fact, a lot of the people who will probably be like, you know, kind of addicted to it, like you guys are, same as me, like a nut for just whatever I can do to improve it, are going to come in probably like week 2 to week 4 because of whatever reason. Obviously, the Karachi is twisted our whole lives up, so. I expect that we'll have a lot more people filter in as we try and figure out stability in our lives during this whole situation. But I know a lot of people, because I did the payment plan, will be coming in, and some of these people are like straight psycho for this stuff, and I love it because they'll be in here active, and that's what's going to be cool when we get the Discord and everything going from all this stuff, and you guys can share in it because there's a lot of money in this, you know. And what? Oh, go for it, Kathy.
Yeah, I was just going to say on some of the body work, I'm a body worker as well. Okay. And so, wow, what a nice difference this just made. Thank you. I have a lot of the similar and trying to read anatomy train. So I feel like there's a nice connection. You do some really good work. I appreciate what you're doing here. I was working with a client who I work part-time, and I'm not doing it currently, but in a gym, chiropractor, Pilates studio, and all that kind of thing. That's the environment. This guy was beating up one of my massage clients. The chiropractor was working on her so badly that she was coming to me with humongous bruise over and over. And it was killing me. And another girl that was working with her that's a personal trainer finally spoke up. So with what you're showing me, this is exactly what she needs to be doing, it seems like, to help her to gently, rather than forcefully, let's beat that thing to death and kill it. So yeah, anyways, whatever comments you have on that.
That's the problem 100%. Like I think I kind of referenced that in the beginning of the overarching my whole career kind of thing. Whenever I teach doctors or therapists or whatever, you know, manual practitioners or, you know, chiropractors or all of them alike, that one, they're taught to be scared of hard tissues. Okay, perfect. Is that better? All right. They're taught to be scared of hard tissues. So like, and I don't even mean like scared, but anybody who doesn't have any knowledge on something is going to be scared of it. And most people will know what scar tissue and calcified tissue is, but they don't understand the function of those things neurologically. They don't understand the interaction those tissues have and what provokes that development in the nervous system. So scar tissue is obviously the body's trying to suppress a high resonating nerve. And when it can't anymore, it calcifies and incapacitates that signal getting into it, because tension is the barrier between here and whatever spot we're talking about. And the harder it gets, the longer it's been there and the more of a neurological drain it is. But to get people to have what you just felt, Kathy, you know, like it takes, does the body get pressure on it all day like this? Like, I mean, short of being like in some crazy construction job or like a jackhammer or something, you know what I mean? Like, who has that job on the regular? It's not, nobody's walking around like this. So it never made sense to me to go foam roll, like, or to sit here and do these like slam and like give somebody a good first karate session and wonder when they got kicked by the sensei and they're like, next 5 days they can't move their arm, and they're thinking like, dang, that's a chiropractic adjustment to me. You forcefully put a momentum based thrust into a joint, and hopefully the area is ready to receive it. Now, Eastern chiropractic, they lay you down and put like 26 adjustments on you, flip you over and do the same thing. Like, you look at Strongman Doc, who does all the strongmans, the chiros. I mean, he takes these women who have like, just, I don't even know how they lift weights. Their chest is so big. And then he puts them into like a statue and their chest relaxes and it ends up being like half the size it was. It goes from a peak to like a round melon look, which is like, for a fake boob, how did he just do that? That tells me that he didn't just assess a physical thing. It was a very neurological based adjustment and assessment all the way around. And when I do my work, or what you just did there, the nervous system gets pressure built up on it gradually all the time. And when you treat it, you should put pressure on it gradually over time. When you stretch it, you should put pressure on it gradually. A stretch is only as good as you start it. If you start a stretch fast, immediately it's going to grab, and you might as well relax for 3-4 minutes, do something else and come back, because it's not going to hold the same way. So you should mute them while I'm talking, right? I just go over to them individually. Where's the mute all button? Can you click mute and not the arrow? Oh. Well, just manually do it. So they got it. All right. Oh, okay, cool. So when you go into a stretch, it should be like nothing. We're priming the body for this actual motion, this angle on the joint, okay? And then we need to line it up. Most people stretch and they do this. Watch. See that curve? They instigate or induce lordosis, and some of them will go kyphosis or kyphotic, whatever you want to say. So when you curve here, you've got to tuck that pelvis until you straighten your back out. Good way to check it is just to put your hand there and make sure that your spinal erectors and the lower back are neutral. Okay, if you're neutral, you'll notice like, oh wow, that gets a lot more comfortable, or it turns on and you're like, wow, I can only be here now. But then you want to increase it over a minute or two. I basically say go to 2 minutes if you can do it without the extremity, arm or leg falling asleep. Okay, always try for a 2-minute stretch. And if it falls asleep or it becomes painful or something like that, then back out of it. You should never feel a strain or pain in a stretch. Okay, you should always, like, if I go like here and it's like, then I should bring it back. I should take my chest and bring it in. Only if I'm comfortable there and need more of that. But when you go into a stretch, when you go into foam roll, when you go into press on the client, you always go hard to the hard layer, and then you reduce your pressure, but you don't reduce your contact, if that makes sense. So you drive to that layer, you keep the contact with that layer, but you back off to where you're not causing that area to bind up on you, and you'll immediately feel it. It'll go from like a hard, like a trampoline, to just silly putty. It'll just melt. But the big thing with stretching is everybody's like mind-numbing pain. It's such a strain. They're on their phone. They don't even think about it. And that's the thing. Like, if you're not thinking about the spot that you're rolling or stretching or working on with the client, there's no true connection. And that's what the difference is. Why I'm so tired at the end of my day working on clients is because I'm constantly like thinking about the dang hard spot that I'm touching, you know? And that's why I tell people, you pay me because I'm willing to press harder and longer than somebody else or you on your roller. That's why you pay me, you know? And yeah, I know where to press, but anybody can figure out where to press. It's not rocket science. I will not glorify this stuff, because if you glorify it, it now puts it out of the scope of achievable for the average person like you guys or anybody wanting to learn this stuff. And I refuse to do that because I taught myself, and I'm smart dude, but everybody's smart. So you just need to realize, not going to hurt yourself. Here's how to do it. Boom. Everybody's like, they never see me again. And I'm like, oh, where were you? And they're like, you're right. I know how to fix myself. So anybody else have a question? No? Sweet. This was, what time are we at? 10:30. All right. We really appreciate you guys coming. We've got this down to a much better science this time. No, not a science. We'll call it a process. We'll get it to a science. And different things, you know, I'm starting to have the time now that I'm settled into this, where I'm going to research different things where people can do. I mean, there's some pretty phenomenal ways that people do screen shares and things like that. So I'm going to get it after this first 4 weeks is going to be more of like, we'll get our groove here. But then after that, it's going to be some more, because you guys are going to, it'll get repetitive and redundant on certain things if you don't have a practical application to go into it. So if there's no case scenarios in your mind, we could do this stuff all day. But like when I went to Theragun and I helped them make their certification initially, I thought I was going there to take their certification, and then they dropped the bomb on us that me and some doctors and trainers and therapists were there, and they're like, no, you're going to help us do it. When we got to the case scenarios, that's what showed me the physical therapy world and the current state of it, because they're doing like plantar fasciitis and they're going, yeah, knee down. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you're really going to assess it from the knee down? If you don't fix the pelvis, change the angle of it, you do nothing with the pull that's angling on the calcaneus and everything through the plantar fascia. So how do you expect to do anything more than make that person really ticked off when you set that thing off after it heals and tightens back up even deeper, and the quad, hamstring, and complex into the hip won't allow it? And they're all like, oh, well, that's why we're here, and why you're here. We, you know, thanks for that, you know? So you gotta like, I mean, every single thing, not to go on too much of a rant, but you know, every single thing that we want to do here, there's gotta be a practical order and process to it. Otherwise you're just going to aimlessly flow around the body and nothing is really going to sink. The reason why your shoulder felt so good, Kathy, is because we're assessing neurological decompression. We're not assessing. People are like, why do you don't foam roll for 2 minutes? That's the stupidest thing. I heard that guy just flame off on me on the internet, and then posted all the 40 studies. And then of course, all the PhDs are like doing it for just 30 to 45 seconds, a couple minutes. We're going for the nervous system. Okay. You've taught your body to be resilient. You've taught your body to go do hours of things, because the humans we're just inherently doing the worst things in the world we could possibly do for ourselves now. Static positions for, like, what am I doing right now? I'm helping you guys, but I'm sitting on my butt in a weird position. And if I do it long enough, you know, this is a part of the recording on the screen, but also in my nervous system. There's a physical, spiritual, and emotional aspect recorded in every second of every day into our nervous system. Once a heroin addict, always a heroin addict, until you purge the physical side of it in those layers, and could be muscle, could be whatever, and the colon side of it. That's how people can relapse. They go back and the body finally purges it. Boom, they can out with their buddies and they overdose. I've had that, seen that with friends. So when you look at these things, like they're instilled into us, like our parents instilled into us. So if you got a process with these things, then you can actually look at it, and then you'll understand traits. And you're not going to just go to your friend and be like, I can make your shoulder feel better. But you can explain to somebody who's in their own way the reason why it's happening, and it's in such a click, 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 click way that the person's going to look at you and go, I don't care if you have a doctorate or not. Even my dad, he gave me a chance when he was already set on surgery, and he's the most stubborn man on the earth. I'm kidding you. Most people think that, you know, you could find somebody else more stubborn, but when they meet my dad, they're like, wow, you weren't kidding, man. He's militant for sure. And he gave me a try, okay? Because I was able to convey to him a way that it was not only going to make him feel better, but why it came and what is keeping it there. So for your own head, getting you to understand that the way that I do, or the way that Sarah, has come to do it. In the beginning, she was in dancer mode, They're at the best. I was dumbfounded when I met that. So we see something and we think that it directly applies to like a good functionality, and it doesn't necessarily do it. So do you have anything you want to say there?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Happy Sunday. I'm going to get these down more and more and more. That's the goal. The only thing I want to change from this is to add more fluff to it, meaning I want more like practical application, and the fact of like videos or something to pop up for a few minutes each session. And I want them to be boom, boom, boom. So we can go in, maybe do a little over an hour, and everybody feels like, they can do that second hour. Because right now talking and everything is great, but I want you guys to be able to go right back and finish that other arm, because we'd be here for 3 hours if we were going to do both sides and stuff, guys. I'll watch a whole long movie and do my whole shoulder girdle and stuff from here. So expect to, like, when you get into this and addicted and things soften up and you want to melt stuff more and more and more and more, expect to spend hours on it, because every time you stand up, it's like, whoa, just euphoria. Okay. This shell that we live in, this flesh, when you get it squishy, and I mean in a good way, your whole day changes, and you can take on all this other crap that's inside you, or stresses or whatever. You're just like, whatever, I could fall down the steps right now and it wouldn't even hurt, so that's a good feeling, because most people would feel like if something happened to them physically, it might change their, they might not go to work, they might not be able to take care of their family, but we can take that away and we can make it to where they feel just insanely good to go do anything they want. So I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Have a good day, guys. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.